speak? You can do that. I'm just trying not to have no line.
That's your speaker.
Okay, cool. Go. Karate starts.
One day.
It is. Something special, yeah.
Something special indeed. That's been coming and coming and coming.
From New York all the way to Washington State, I feel in my heart, today's gonna change me a thing for us. But y'all say the bus is filled with people of all races, all walks of life, rich, poor, it ain't matter. People's looking for a change. So, you all right?
I am, but the hell y'all don't know my guys been sleeping on this past 2 weeks. I'm starting to spirit way we ain't never suspect. 2 days ago, just before something, I felt a tension in his face I ain't never seen. It wasn't fear, it was fright. It was fright. It wasn't fear, it was fright. It was fright. You always think it's constant. It wasn't fear. It was fright. It was fright. When I asked him if he was okay, he looked at me with the most assuring manner. Right. And he's been in the moment, but I think the weight of this is right with it.
I felt that myself when you all called me to comfort him with the song. That look you speak of, I saw in Montgomery like 2 months ago. Correct. I too asked him if he was all right, and he assured me just the same. Was his heart heavy in India too?
I don't think people understand just the pain. Men feel the same pain as those kids. You get water to them after speaking their mind. Man who prays at night, when his back is straight, probably goes to death. And the closer we get to progress, the more desires and wrongs for the change we know is possible in the life. But sometimes I just wish I could ease his pain, but I can't. All I can do is stand next to him and hold his shoulders with his knees buckled, counseling him on the easiest path to resistance without violence. They want his food, love his children, but the heavy even thought that I can lighten the load on his human shoulders. Weight that seems to get heavier and heavier with each bus that arrives.
100. You hear me? 100 buses have just arrived.
Oh, damn, that is wonderful.
100 more are expected every hour on the hour. It's all we can to be able to organize to lift this movement. Rallies and churches, sit-ins and marches. And all it took us is 8 weeks to bring the organization together. I tell you, the change soon comes. Oh, my gosh. Your name? Who, me? I am familiar with the behavior. Coretta is familiar to me. I know of myself, although at times I forget myself. The only who or me to which is unfamiliar is you. Henry Bryant from Greenville, Kentucky. I know of more Henry nor Bryant. You must leave at once. I like your name. So let me help you find your way back to Greenville.
Oh, man, don't be so quick.
By all means, with all due respect, National Guard has been breathing down our necks. Secret Service has been breathing down our necks. National Guard is not a guard. It's been watching our every move. Threats we're made against every speak against it. We must take all precautions to protect ourselves and our community. Everyone's coming and coming in support.
Oh, he guards the path of the just, protects the way of the faithful ones. Proverbs 2:8.
Why do not know this man, so he must leave. They are wrestling right now.
Oh, it's all right. I'll be rightly on my way. I wasn't trying to cause no stir. I did want to say thank you to Mrs. Jackson and Mrs. King for Mrs. Jackson for the way she sang. Spirit up. Spirit up.
Well, thank you, young man.
It does. Thank you for being here, Henry. Goodbye.
Get up from where you are and go to a land that I will show you all. And we're marching there. We marched there 700 strong today. We are assembled here tonight at Union and Arcadia, and we shall continue to assemble and to march until we get to that goal of our lives.
After the chief of police found out she
The light that you get with that coming from the wax of the candle, and as it burns, the candle is burning. I told the sun, it's burning.
Some white folks in the city thought the teacher a lesson about burning my house down.
And even you and me in this orbit, we gotta shine, we gotta give of ourselves. And when we give of ourselves, we're shining, not only in all things, but to the world around, saying that the Negro can do without. The Negro can stand together. The Negro can protect together. The things that he says are right and just for him.
Freedom, man. Mom says as much as white people wanted to, they can never know what true equality is and how it looks. She says the truth is, she said the truth is someone else is who they is. Maybe I go back to Louisville, know my struggle. The movement in Birmingham just unhollowed that truth is all
With this faith,
look at our neighborhood.
we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair
They come live for a reason, they say no.
With this
Mom
faith,
says the reason they say sorry.
we will be able to transform the changes
Evil and also from they suffer.
into
And they know in their hearts they ain't really fair. So they say sorry. Why you let our name and a good cook. Sometimes I don't know why I make it more. A president on Sunday said,
Beyond our wildest imagination, the world is changing right before our eyes. No one mobilized together. It's hard. Our photo offer that called the this change that is able to the story. Bureaucracy has reared its ugly head before they even got started. The Archbishop of Washington read when Patrick O'Rourke got into John Lewis' speech that used to give an education. He was ashamed. Give man and say nothing and other than right there. But potential is high, and to mobilize again. Spirit and uprising required that we address our truth. John was furious, as it should have been in the days when our voices were set to rise with those following them. We needed the Catholic Church's support. We needed Jewish support. We needed government support. And why he said it was black is the only way that we get heard. So the spirit, progress, our battle cry, and the whisper, our truth, strip from our roar. Program with all.
Women of the movement were just as important. Women of the movement were just as important as the men. We were a diverse group of women. We had our own experiences. We are our children, what caused us to march. Of course we wanted jobs. We wanted the same security that all people wanted for their families, especially their young. My beautiful friend died, Carol, and I was just as excited as anyone to share small talk during the women's portion of the day. Conversation was stalled by the feeling rise upon us. They met the cold black eyes of this young girl. I'll never forget.
This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone. With this faith, we will be able to transform the changing discourse of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning. My country tears with thee.
LSG is Martin.
Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrims cried. From every mountainside, let freedom reign. If America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom reign. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom reign. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom reign. From the hiking Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom reign. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom reign. From the pervasive slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom reign from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom reign from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom reign from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside. Let freedom reign. And when it happens, when we allow freedom to reign, when we let it reign,
Thank you.
You're actually on, so you can just
You're not on the show.
I think that's
No, that's fine.
Just be responsible for making sure everybody's mic is off mute.
Okay.
So
one
actually,
person think
you
about
guys.
And I'm gonna hold the
are
mic. Am I gonna hold the
you
mic? Because I don't
guys-
have a microphone.
Hello?
S1 and S4, you are being controlled from the panel. LAV and LSG, you actually have an on and off. So I did that for you.
Is that me? Oh, that's you? Oh, that's you. The woman of the movement. I am, but hell yeah, I don't know. Martin hasn't been sleeping well these past few weeks. I think the moment is getting to his spirit in a way we ain't never suspect. 2 days ago, just before supper, he held a tension in his face I ain't never seen before. It wasn't fear, it was fright. It was
tuck it in the mic.
We only have 4 lavaliers.
I asked him if
Okay,
it was
so I grab the
to
mic
me in
for
the most
the
assuring manner, which
song.
eased me in the moment.
Can she,
but
did you ask
I
him
think the weight
about
of this is right
making a
to give it to
wireless
him.
mic,
Just
just putting it on
wanna
that stand?
Yeah, that might be good.
Ooh.
But I can talk loud though. I don't need a mic for my talking. But
There's
just,
also, he said there's something, this mic also catches, and yes, you are.
But we won't really be
as
over
she-
there.
y'all need it more than me because I'm not talking that much. Can I come in?
Someone say they don't need a mic because they can talk loud?
I need a mic though. I don't have a lavalier though.
We're broadcasting this and everything, so if you're not mic'd, the people on TV won't hear you.
So we're short one.
We're short one mic.
So you need another lavalier or
Do
maybe,
you have one?
Lavalier.
we gave 4 out.
4 out, correct.
Okay.
I need one more.
You want to use that?
We can't walk, she can't walk around with a mic in her hand.
Okay.
No.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Thank you. If not, we'll just
It
put a mic
is.
right here.
It is.
It is.
Or the hell you can just be like.
It is.
Would you prefer this mic? to this?
Some special in
Well,
there.
the thing is, almost all her action takes place right here.
Right.
So
do
it's
you want to put
legit.
this mic here? and
As a
then-
just in case, yeah.
Yeah, I still need. I mean,
Absolutely.
You want to play with it now?
Yeah.
Mahalia?
I guess. I mean,
Like a 5-second testing.
So when you do most of your action, I guess you could do it right there. I mean, I could bring it up and tilt it up some more on one of the stands.
So these need to be off before the show starts.
No, you guys have,
Because they can hear.
I understand the control booth, so I'm
Oh.
you guys S1, S4, you guys are good. Just on, you guys are off until you, right before you come on, pop you on.
Okay.
You sing right there to that mic, that'd be beautiful.
I got to pee now.
That's a lot to say in a short time. Jesus
But you are all live.
Cause my soul. The back in one time.
Yes.
You really get to you,
Okay.
Martin.
Pretty much.
Young man, there are many, many things that I'd like to see again and again. You, my friend, is not one of them.
I'm sorry,
My-
sir. I do want to thank you for all you do.
Thank me. That's the same jazz that you gave Mahalia and Mrs. King. How are you going to thank me?
I just did.
Thankfulness is not expressed through phonetics. It is appreciation you seek to convey. Young man, please speak up.
I don't know.
You don't know if you want me to feel thanked or receive your appreciation.
You're confusing me.
I speak in clear sentences. You begin yours with and you are the one that is confused.
You're talking too fast for me.
Fast. Why? Are you uneducated?
Are you uneducated?
Hold your head up. I asked you a question. Are you uneducated?
Yes, sir.
But you are smart.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't a question. You said that you were a photographer for the Louisville Defender. Hold your head up. If every time a man asks you a question, you drop your head, you've lost before you've even begun.
Yes, sir.
Now, you said you wanted to thank me earlier.
Yes, sir.
Thank me for what?
Thank you for putting us here holding on, for leading the march for jobs and freedom.
You, young man, and your counterparts, you have no clue. I don't want your thanks. Thanks does not enact legislation. Thanks does not mobilize. Thanks does not move people. I want your action. I want you educated. I want you strong. I want you to know your history, white and Negro American history, for one is responsible for hindering the other. I want you to know your rights. I want you to not lie about working for a paper with whom the editor I am very familiar. I want you to understand that truth, that fear has no place in your heart, and I want you to understand I want you to be as slick out in this world as you were sneaking in here today, and I don't want you to apologize for it. I want you to see the world in a way that I never could, and I want you to tell your sons and your daughters about it. And now, I want you to hold your head up in the face of any opposition, and now I want you to leave. Dr. King, I was just escorting the young man out.
A few minutes before my speech, I have to use a live conversation to reset my thoughts.
The young man has not been properly vetted. I take exception with him being here.
Whatever will be, will be.
Yes, but Dr. King, we're relying on your closing remarks.
My remarks are typed and ready to go. Bayard, would you please excuse us?
He is not who he says he is.
Which one of us are?
Dr. King, we're relying on you. You are next on the program.
Henry Bryant, correct?
Yes, sir. It's nice to finally meet you, Dr. King.
I hear you're from Kentucky.
The bluegrass state.
Is the grass as blue as they say?
I couldn't say, sir. Lately, it's been covered in Negro blood.
The violence is increasing as of late.
Yes, sir, and with a force I ain't ever seen before. I feels like the closer we get to progress, the more our businesses are vandalized, the more dogs attack us, and the more our homes are burned down.
Loss is inevitable to progress.
Not for white folk. Our police chief just bought the finest of houses. His son, a policeman, just moved into his old house from a tiny starter house just down by the river. They progressing and their lives are getting better. How you explain that?
Different circumstances bear different truths.
So how are we supposed to get to the same one?
Which truth do you speak of?
Heaven. Whites and blacks be enemies down here on earth. Does that just fade away in heaven?
So you can turn it off.
I plan to go to heaven, I assure you. I've always wanted to. But the last thing I want to see when I get there is another white man sitting on top of me with his foot on my neck.
You believe in heaven?
Yes, sir.
How?
Because I live in hell. Excuse me, Kentucky.
Your family's still there?
What's left of them? My mother has passed. My father passed a few years ago.
How?
In hope.
I'm sorry for your loss.
That's what everybody say. I'm sorry for your loss. I mean, I ain't saying you ain't feel how you feel, but that's what everybody say. Dr. King, we done lost a lot, and all we got was a bunch of sorries.
What is it you desire?
Something that will carry me from day to day without the residual anger.
Anger, yes. Anger at life.
Life, white folk, Negroes who refuse to do anything to change our situation. Dr. King, you've been lifted up. Dr. King, you've been lifted up, heralded by the nation. Every television debate, interview, our family was right there, watching, hoping. We watched you on the open mind talking about the new Negro. You spoke of dignity and self-respect. My father made us watch it with great attention, made us write down notes and discuss your truth. I don't think he could have ever contained himself with that kind of excitement. You spoke of asserting our rights with earnest prudence. My father understood that to be true, and by hearing you say it, it moved him in a way we'd never seen. He was the principal of the school. Education was stressed beyond belief, but one night he was walking a couple of young female students home. These two young white boys, students at the school from across town, began to taunt him and cuss at him, and throw rocks. They were still angry by the constant losing to our football team. My dad tried to quickly shuffle along, but when a rock hit Tiffany, my dad's most promising student, he couldn't contain himself. He wasn't prudent or restrained. He hurt them boys. And when he came home, he knew. We knew. My dad asked me, what does it mean if the only people who are watching Dr. King are the ones who are hurting? I cried. That night the police came. My father had this camera he used to take all the photographs of our school with. I picked it up. To capture all the faces of the men who came to take our most prized possession.
Awesome.
Our father.
Henry.
Dr. King, I've been taking pictures ever since. I got so many of the movement. I got pictures of black folks suffering all the way from Greenville straight to Springfield, Ohio. When Mrs. King came to Louisville, I had no choice but to capture that image. Dr. King, what does it all mean? Why can't they see the same beauty that we see in ourselves? Why is this skin we were born with our indictment? My mother and father are gone, Dr. King. Where is their freedom?
And you. Yeah, I take it you have brothers and sisters.
5 that I'm now responsible for. 5 reasons that I couldn't go to college myself. 5 reasons that I now work day and night to rebuild a life that we once had. 5 reasons that I risk everything to see you today.
My admiration for you grows by the minute.
When my brothers and sisters look to me for comfort, for security, and for education, how do I look them in the eyes and tell them everything will be all right when in my heart I'm not certain?
Because it will be. Faith is not an idea, but a man with a mighty hand on who you can rely.
Is this the same hand that took from me my life, my security, my comfort? Dr. King, now more than ever, we need you. I need you.
No, you need to look inside yourself. Strength walks in you, faith walks in you, love walks in you, and it can stomp out all those doubts and fears. We don't come today to ask for permission from whites. We march to prove that we are more than what they see. Kings and queens bound by an ugly chain of injustice, which we will surely break. This is not a docile protest, but a call to arms. You kill our children, we will raise more stronger and tougher and more resilient than before. You burn our schools, we will educate ourselves in the quiet of night. You imprison our men, our women will rise up with valor and continue to empower us from generation to generation. You take our mothers and fathers, and we will raise our younger brothers and sisters with more strength and build upon the foundation laid in excellence. We march to send a message that the Negro spirit will never be broken. We will survive every weapon, every injustice, every right you think you have the power to take. Henry, we march for you, for your hopes and your dreams that I assure you will not die as long as you believe that everything you need is in you. Henry, you didn't need to come to see me today. You needed to only look inside yourself.
I thought he was taking pictures.
And if you see yourself like I see you, then you can sit back and smile and know that we've already won. We're already free. Ta 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 ta. Your monologue, Mahalia.
At any point, you're going to raise your voice from this level?
Yes.
I can send it to you.
Especially during a speech.
I have, with Mike LAV, he's not speaking in full voice, so we might have to turn him down at some point. Can you just say, do one of your monologues?
Well, definitely the monologue to Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I think
We should do our highest topic because I won't be singing loud.
If full voice?
Just for
Just
levels.
a little bit.
Apologize.
No, you need to look inside yourself. Henry, we march for you, for your hopes, your dreams, that I assure you will not die as long as you trust that everything you need is in you. Henry, you didn't need to come to see me today. That's
good.
I'm
also going to need to do S6.
Yeah.
So S6, we're going to have to sing. That way we could get good levels on you. S6 is our strongest voice, so we may have to turn it down a bit. Mike S6.
Can you join and just ask?
If you could just do something for me.
How I got over. Tell me how I made it over. You know my soul looks back and wonder how I made it over. I'm gonna wear a diamond garment in that new Jerusalem. I'm gonna walk the streets of gold in that holy day of the soul.
I don't think you were coming through the system.
Yeah,
I don't hear. Yeah, I don't hear S6. Mike S6.
I love you, the host in white. I think I turned myself on. I checked. I'm good.
You want to check her, make sure she's on?
Nah, he's
I'm
timer. Yeah, I'm on. Giving me heaven. I'm on.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just have to turn me down because you know.
Yeah, because S1, I need to hear you. S1 starts the show, first line.
Let's start the show.
It's a warm day.
Don't
It
talk
is a
into your
warm
mic,
day.
talk out.
It is a warm day.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Do one of your monologues. The women.
the women of the movement were just as important as the men. We were a diverse group of women. We had our own experiences.
Okay. We're gonna S1. S4, Bayard. Let's do something that you're,
Passionate about.
yes, please. S4, testing S4.
Young men, hold your head up. If every time you lower your head, drop your head when someone asks you a question, you have lost before you have begun.
Carry on. Carry on. Look, everybody clap it up for Derwin, everybody.
Oh, can we all stand on stage real quick and get a picture?
Clap it up, clap it up for Derwin.
But just with our hands to our
Give
sides.
him your phone so you can take a picture and you be in your picture.
I'm gonna
Let's
be
stand how we stand at the end of the play.
Got that good
Go to
sleep.
the middle section and grab it this way and this way.
What you do when you gotta itch your eyebrow?
Huh? You ready to just go pat, pat?
One more is fine.
After when
Just
I
get our
gotta
face.
itch my eyebrow.
Everybody come in and just have your
Everybody
hands
one
down to
line.
your side. No smile on anything.
What?
All right, as if you're listening to the speech, straight out to the back.
Thank you. That's it. All right, y'all, we have about 30 minutes. Actually, people are going to start coming in here really soon,
So
actually.
we gotta get our stuff.
Yep.
Yes, let's move all stuff to where it needs to be.
Everybody can't do it.
We can mute mics right now until the start, if that would be okay. Thank you, Booth.
We do need our chairs on the outside right here. Yeah, just put it on the back side.
Sure.
Because then we can put all our stuff on this table and under this table, but we'll still have chairs to so
Sit.
that
Oh, I know y'all not leaving y'all stuff.
Okay.
Oh, you do? I think this is a good word anyway.
I don't know my live certificate. Come on over. Coming on over.
That's not a good spot, though. Let me see. I'm gonna put a chair right here for you.
Doing a good job there, you know.
I'm going to the bathroom. Is it okay? It's okay if I go out that way. Don't mind. Right?
This is me.
You know the song was back in one night. Hold me over.
You want water on these tables or something? Will you, the host and wife? Hold on a minute.
Soon as I can see Jesus, the man that died for me. The man that died for me. And oh, Calvary. Well, thank you for how you brought me. Thank God for how you brought me. Thank God for me. I thank the Lord that don't let me. sing glory, hallelujah. Got a shirt on my thank God, he's so good to me. Tell me how I got over, been falling around for the years. You know, so the back and one time that I'll be on down. Tell me how I made over. What about the time come around? I'm so the back and one time. Tell me how we are. What away down on Calvary in that new Jerusalem. I'm gonna walk the streets of gold. The whole life and soul. I'm gonna view the host in white. Cause they've been traveling day and night. But, they don't, shoot. They're on their way. Something. They coming up from every nation. They're on their way to a great coronation. They come from the north, east, and west. They're on their way to a land of rest. Oh, the dogs gonna be quiet. Oh, God, and now you tell you love me.
Yes, and make sure you put that stank on it at the end. I know the words to that song, and I want how to put that stank on it. Yes, I want to.
He put a little stank on it.
Yes.
You gotta say it properly. We're a department interview. Please put the stink on the.
Yes, not stink, stank.
I know.
Now, is this in your way in the wind?
No. Well,
Well,
it might be helpful.
I might have moved it if you know. Yeah. It's nothing.
Yeah, put that little, you know that stank when you hear somebody sing, go, ooh, you know, that's, that.
Janelle?
That's how you know.
Yeah.
Janelle? Can you give me like
What you need?
Thank you, whoever did this.
a tissue or something? I'm gonna play around with my tissue.
You wanna,
A handkerchief or like a tissue. Or
man, that's what I forgot.
I'm wiping myself.
All right, give me wait, give us a.
I'm just gonna go, come in wiping.
Wipe me
I'm gonna play with a
down.
lot. I'm gonna play with a lot.
Hands on, hands on, hands on.
Ah, yeah, his name's Bayard, walking up the steps. He's gonna lead us. I don't know what he's gonna say just yet, but I'm ready. Why you looking in the door, yeah? I see you walking in the Department of Energy. Wouldn't that be nice if everything you just freestyled what everybody was doing? He fixing that door. He's gonna make the stage come out some more. He putting up that table. Cause I know God is able.
Y'all need seats?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
It's just this stuff.
That's what I'm balling up.
Okay.
No, it's kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, everybody move that out, all that.
Oh, yeah. Anything you guys need?
What's that page? Oh, over here. He's gonna use my folder.
Wipe it down.
Amazing. Oh, did you get that? You didn't see that thing out? I didn't attach that to it. I'm sorry. I thought I sent this screen. Yeah. I thought you sent it. Yeah, I thought before. No,
Here.
it needs to be print and, but it's okay. I think it was fine. Is that okay? Yeah.
Why don't you, Baba say he can use a phone.
Okay.
He was sitting on the steps. That was really.
Let me get out my pen, cause, it got cool in here, I know. It's a shade, but in here, so let me.
Y'all should be trying this.
They trying to talk, they come from people all over here.
People like,
I'm buying pizza. I'm buying pizza. All right, so Lucretia, you wanna?
yep.
Come on, y'all gonna go with me? I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all, you and what's trying to go backstage? Have fun.
Okay. Get your life, Mark. Get your life. We need you, Mark. Mark, we need you.
Good, Mark.
Mark, we need you.
Y'all early. I love that. Man. That's awesome. How y'all doing today?
We have been called upon and have heard the voice of democracy saying, get up from where you are and go to a land that I will show you all. Yes. And we're marching there. We marched there 700 strong to jail. Yes. We are assembled here tonight at Union in Arcadia, and we shall continue to assemble and to march until we get to that goal of our lives. Light a candle, if you will. And the light that you get from that candle is coming from the wax of the candle, and as it burns, the candle is perishing. Everything shines by perishing. I'm told that the sun is burning itself out at a rapid rate of speed. It's shining by perishing. And even you and me in this orbital movement, if we are to be significant parts, we got to shine. We got to give of ourselves. And when we give of ourselves, we're shining, not only in Albany, but to the world around, saying that the Negro can do without. Yes. The Negro can stand together. Yes. The Negro can protest together. Yes. The things that he thinks are right and justly here. Yes. We're going to stand together for ourselves.
You know, I lived next door to a man, and he had a lot of children, and so did my dad, but we weren't allowed to play together because they were white. But we had two dogs. He had a dog, and we had a dog. And our dogs would always play, and so we wrote this song. Dog, 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 my dog, I love your dog, and your dog, I love my dog. I'm talking about my dog. I love your dog. All them dogs, I love my dog. All them dogs, I love you. All them dogs, I love my dog. All them dogs, I love you. I'm talking about a rabbit dog. I'm talking about a coon dog. I'm talking about a rabbit dog. All them dogs, all them dogs, I love my dog. I don't know why can we sit on the apple tree. My little doggy was playing one day down in the middle in a bundle of hay. My little doggy came along. Let's get together and eat this bone. I don't know why can we sit on the apple tree. You won't walk with me. You won't talk with me. Why don't you hold my hand slowly? I can understand now, can't you see that you and me would be so happy sitting on the apple tree? My dog, I love you, dog. I love my dog and dog. I love you, dog. I'm on a rabbit dog. I love my dog and dog. I love you, dog. Talking about the moon dog. Talking about the moon dog. I love you, dog. All them dogs. All them dogs. I love you, dog. I don't know why can we sit on the apple tree?
Everybody knows it's sad, oh yeah. The cops can't stop us. The mob can't stop us. In the middle of the night, the daytime too, we started this battle and we want freedom. We want freedom. Yes, we want freedom. The cops can't stop us. The mob can't stop us. In the middle of the night and the daytime too, we started this battle and we mean to go through. We want freedom. We want freedom. We want freedom. Yes, we want freedom. We want freedom. Want our freedom and we want it now. We want our freedom and we want it now. We want our freedom and we want.
It is something that hadn't ever happened here to us. We really feel like we have someone thinking of us, feeling our care, and we are willing to cooperate with them. We have had the mayor of this town to tell us so many different things until we just didn't hardly know which way to go. We was just all tied up. We didn't know one time where to let any of them in the door. But after we come lynching out ourselves, trying to see what it was, that give us ideas about this. We just feel it's all right. We don't feel afraid. Not many of us feeling afraid, not like we have been. We feel like it was something to help us to live. Ain't no danger in the water. Ain't no danger in the water. And ain't no danger in the water. Get on board. Get on board. We are soldiers in the army. We have to fight although we have to cry. We got to hold up the blood-stained banner. We've got to hold it up until we die. Oh, we are soldiers in the army. We've got to fight, although we have to cry. We've got to hold up the blood-stained banner. We've got to hold it up until we die. My mother was a soldier. She had her hands on the gospel plow. One day she got old, she couldn't fight anymore. She said, I'll stand here and I'll fight anyhow. Oh, we are soldiers
hands on the gospel plow. One day I'll get old and I can't fight anymore, but you know I'll stand here, child, I'll fight anyhow. We are soldiers in the army. We've got to fight although we have to cry. We've got to hold it up, the blood-stained banner.
Good morning. My name is Damian Ferguson, and I am a Diversity and Inclusion Program Manager in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Celebrations like the one today are an integral part of our office. We utilize events such as today's program to promote awareness, to educate, and to celebrate the unique differences, contributions, experiences of our workforce. These events create a culture where we learn, build together. Now to the real reason why you're here today, to celebrate the life and contributions of America's greatest champion of racial justice and equality, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a leader who not only dreamed of a colorblind society, but who also led a movement that achieved historic reforms to help make it a reality. The timeless values he taught us through his example, the values of courage, truth, justice, compassion, dignity, humility, and service that so radiantly defined Dr. King's character and empowered his leadership. We celebrate the universal, unconditional love, forgiveness, and nonviolence that empowered his revolutionary leadership. Today, we have the great fortune of having Cloud9's productions, The Dream. The play is written by Dewey Girard, directed by Farajan Felipe, and assisted directed by Janelle Simone Valley. Cloud9 Productions is a boutique production company based in Brooklyn, New York, dedicated to introducing African-American characters as intelligent, complex individuals dealing with self-actualization, doubt, and common fears in a thoughtful and positive manner. The production company has produced 2 critically acclaimed, nationally touring stage plays and an award-winning featured film, Lessons Before Dying, that has won several national film festivals and is currently in Redbox and on Hulu. The company's stage profiles includes several touring plays, with the most recent, The Definitive Loser's Guide to Winning. The production has shown most notably in Los Angeles, New York, and London, United Kingdom. The company is set to produce new works to be staged this year. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you The Dream.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to the Lord and be free. Yeah. Oh, freedom.
It is a warm day.
It is. Something special in the air.
Something special indeed. Bus has been a coming and a coming and a coming.
From New York all the way to Washington State. I feel in my heart today's gonna change many a thing for us. They all say the bus is filled with people of all races, all walks of life. Rich, poor, it ain't matter. People is looking for a change. Correct. You all right?
I am. But Mahalia, I don't know. Martin ain't been sleeping well these past few weeks. I think the moment is getting to his spirit in a way we ain't never suspect. 2 days ago, just before supper, I saw a tension in his face I ain't never seen before. It wasn't fear, it was fright. It was indescribable, really. I asked him if he was all right, and he looked at me in the most assuring manner to ease me in the moment, but I think the weight of all of this is rightly getting to him.
I felt that myself when you all called me to comfort him with the song. That look you speak of, I saw in Montgomery 2 months ago. Coretta.
I asked him if he was all right, and he assured me just the same. Was his heart heavy in India, too?
It was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand. He's just a man. A man who feels the same pain as those kids who get water turned on for speaking their mind. A man who prays at night even though his back is straight in public during the day. And the closer we get to progress, the more he desires and longs for the change that we know is possible to come alive. But sometimes I just want to ease his pain. But I can't. All I can do is stand next to him and hold his shoulders when his knees buckle. Counsel him on the easiest path to nonviolence. Warm his food, love his children. But Mahalia, even with all of that, I can't lighten the load on his human shoulders. A weight that seems to get heavier and heavier with each bus that arrives.
100. You hear me? 100 buses just arrived.
Oh, Bayard, that is wonderful.
100 more are expected every hour on the hour. 8 weeks. That's all we had to build, to organize, to lift this movement beyond rallies and churches, sit-ins and marches. 8 weeks. That's all it took us to bring the heart of this nation together. Oh, I tell you, a change soon comes.
Lord, yes, sir.
Oh, my apologies.
Your name?
Me?
Well, I'm familiar with Mahalia. Coretta's familiar to me. I do know of myself, although at times I forget myself. The only who or me to which I am unfamiliar is you.
Oh, Bayard. Young man, what is your name?
Henry Bryant from Greenville, Kentucky.
I know of no Henry nor Bryant. You must leave at once.
Young man, are you lost?
I reckon I am.
Well, then let me help you find your way back to Greenville.
Oh, Bayard, don't be so quick.
With all due respect, Secret Service has been breathing down our necks. But the National Guard is not guarding, but watching our every move. Threats have been made against every speaker here. We must take all precautions to protect ourselves and Dr. King. Every bus coming ain't coming in support.
For he guards the path of the just and protects the way of the righteous ones. Proverbs 2:8.
Yes, Lord.
For I do not know this man, so he must leave. Bayard Rustin right now.
It's all right. I'll just be rightly on my way. I ain't trying to cause no stir. I did want to say thank you to Mrs. Jackson and Mrs. King.
For?
Mrs. Jackson for the way she sang. The spirit stirs up in me from the moment she opened up her mouth down to the very last note.
Well, thank you, young man.
And for?
Mrs. King, about 3 months ago, you was in Louisville.
Yes, East 2nd Street
Baptist Church. Yes, ma'am. You talked to a congregation of women. You talked about strength and faith, love and valor.
Henry, the photographer.
Yes, ma'am.
You were the only man in a sea of women, a sea of faith, a belief. Man, I've been floating ever since. Wait, there was a woman, a tall one. She told the most indescribable story about
The children at the school.
The school that burned down. Mary Jo was her name. She started a newspaper in Kentucky telling our stories, telling our truth. Oh, Mahalia.
That sounds wonderful.
Oh, it does, it does. Henry, thank you for being here. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I mean, I did want to say thank you. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. Mahalia, you are next on the program, just after John Lewis. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, Henry, this way.
Oh, young man, have you heard from Mary Jo? How is she?
My mother died just 2 short weeks after the women's meeting, Mrs. King.
Oh, my. How?
When the chief of police found out she'd been teaching at her home after they ordered the school closed, the city made a big fuss about it. Talked about arresting her and breaking laws and such. They put a name and address in the papers to teach her a lesson and embarrass her. Some white folks in the city burned our house down. My mother was the only one of us who didn't make it out.
Bayard, would you give us a minute? Please. We'll be fine. I'm deeply sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Mrs. King. But my mother always prepared us.
For her death?
For her life. She believed in the mission you and Dr. King have brought us. I'm not so sure she believed it would ever come true.
The Civil Rights Bill?
Freedom, ma'am. Mom says as much as white folks want to, they can never truly know what equality is and how it truly looks.
That lacks hope and faith in people.
She say the truth of who someone is just who they is. Many white folks back in Louisville know of our struggle. The movement in Birmingham just done highlighted the truth that's always been around. I mean, look at our neighborhood versus theirs. They know it'd be different, because if you ask would they come live where we do, they say no. Mom says the reason they stay silent is because if we become equal, then our suffering be their suffering. And in their hearts, they know they ain't willing to bear it, so they stay silent, quietly letting our pain be felt alone.
Your mama was a wise woman.
And a good cook. Sometimes I don't know what I miss more, her presence or Sunday dinner.
Come.
Beyond our wildest imaginations, the world was changing right before our eyes. I mean, colored folk had mobilized, but never in such harmony. Out front, our hearts were connected by the possibilities of change. But backstage, now that was a different kind of story. See, bureaucracy had reared its ugly head right before the day ever began. The Archbishop of Washington, the Reverend Patrick O'Ball, got in whiff of John Lewis's speech and decided that he wouldn't give the invocation if he didn't change it. I mean, a man ain't say nothing other than what happened right there where he lived. But tensions high, and hatred mobilized against us. Fear of an uprising required that we adjust our truth. John was furious. I mean, as he should have been, on a day where our voices were to rise. Told to quiet them down. I mean, we needed the Catholic Church's support. We needed Jewish support. We needed government support. White standing with blacks, sometimes that's the only way we actually get heard. So in the spirit of progress, our battle cry became a mere whisper. Our truth was stripped from our roar. But that program went on as planned.
How I got over. Tell me how I got over. You know my soul looks back and wonder how I made it over.
Come on, Mahalia.
How I made it over. Coming on over all these years. You know my soul looks back and wonder how I made it over. Whoa, as soon as I can see Jesus.
All right.
The man that died for me. The man that bled and suffered Calvary. I want to thank him for how he brought me. And I want to thank God for how he taught me. Thank my God how he kept me. And I thank him because he never left me. And I want to thank him for old time religion. And I want to thank him for giving me a vision. And I'm going to join the heavenly choir. I'm going to shout and never get tired.
All right.
I'm going to sing glory, hallelujah. I'm going to shout all my troubles over. And I want to thank God for being so good to me. Yeah. Tell me how I got it. Yeah. I've been falling and rising all these years. You know my soul. Look back and wonder how I made it over. Tell me how I made it over. I had a mighty hard time coming on over. You know my soul. Look back and wonder how I made it over. Come on, let's say something. I'm gonna wear a diamond garment.
All right.
In that new Jerusalem. I'm gonna walk the streets of gold in that homeland day of the soul. I'm gonna view the host in white.
Yes, man.
They've been traveling day and night, and I'm gonna coming up from the east and west.
Yeah.
They're on their way to a land of rest. They coming up from every nation. They on their way to a great coronation. They coming from the north, south, east, and west. Yeah, they on their way to a land of rest. How am John, the heavenly choir? I'm gonna shout and never get tired. And I'm gonna sing Lord, hallelujah. And I'm gonna shout out my troubles over. And I wanna thank God, thank him for being so good to me. Yeah.
The women of the movement were just as important as the men. We were a diverse group of women. We had our own experiences. Fear for our children were what caused us to march. Of course, we wanted jobs. We wanted the same security that all people wanted for their families. My beautiful friend Diane Carroll and I were just as excited as anyone to have small talk during the women's portion of the day. Our conversation was stalled by the feeling of eyes upon us. They met the cold black eyes of this young girl. I'll never forget her because her skin seemed to absorb every bit of sunlight it ever met. Just beautiful. Young in years, but old in experience. One brief glance at her, and it heightened our fear for her. For I looked at my friend Diane, and we realized our small talk could no longer be small. But we had cold black eyes to fill with hope, faith, and dreams.
You know, my soul looks back and wonder how you still here. Young man, there are many, many, many things that I would love to see again and again and again. You, my friend, is not one of them.
I'm sorry, sir. I do want to thank you for all you're doing.
Thank me. Thank you. That's the same jazz that you gave Mahalia and Mrs. King. How were you going to thank me?
I just did.
Thankfulness is not expressed through phonetics. Is it appreciation that you seek to convey? Young man, please speak up.
No.
Well, you don't know if you want me to feel thanks or to receive your appreciation.
You're confusing me.
I speak in clear sentences. You begin all of yours with and you are the one that is confused.
You're talking too fast for me.
Fast? Why? Are you uneducated? Hold your head up. I'm asking you a question. Are you uneducated? Answer the question. Are you uneducated?
Yes, sir.
But you are smart.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't a question. You said that you were a photographer for the Louisville Defender. Young man, hold your head up. If every time a man asks you a question, you drop your head, you've lost before you've begun. Now, earlier, you said you wanted to thank me.
Yes, sir.
Thank me for what?
For putting this here whole thing on. For leading the march for jobs and freedom.
You, young man, you and your counterparts, you have no clue. I don't want your thanks. Thanks does not enact legislation. Thanks does not mobilize. Thanks does not move people. I want your action. I want you to know you're right. I want you educated. I want you strong. I want you to know your history. White and Negro American history, for one, is responsible for hindering the other. I want you to know in your heart that fear has no place there. I want you to be as slick in this world as you were sneaking in here today. And I don't want you to apologize for it. I want you to see the world in a way that I never could. I want you to tell your sons and I want you to tell your daughters about it. And I want you to hold your head up in the face of all opposition. And now I want you to leave.
Why, Bayard? That's a mighty lot to say in a short time.
Dr. King, I was just escorting the young man out.
No need. I have a few minutes before my speech. I could use a light conversation to reset my thoughts.
The young man hasn't been properly vetted, so I take exception with him being here.
Whatever will be, will be.
Yes, but we are relying on your closing remarks.
My remarks are typed and ready to go. Bayard, would you please excuse us?
He is not who he says he is.
Which one of us are?
Dr. King, I'm going to need you out front in just a second. You are next on the program.
Thank you, Bayard. Henry Bryant, correct?
Yes, sir. It's nice to finally meet you, Dr. King.
I hear you're from Kentucky.
The Bluegrass State.
Is the grass as blue as they say?
I couldn't say, sir. Lately, it's been covered in Negro blood.
The violence is increasing as of late.
Yes, sir. And with a force I ain't ever seen before. It feels like the closer we get to progress, the more our businesses are vandalized. More dogs attack us, and the more our homes are burned down.
Loss is inevitable to progress.
Not for white folk. Our police chief just bought the finest of houses. His son, a policeman, just moved into his old house, just down by the river. They progressing, and their lives is getting better. How you explain that?
Different circumstances bear different truths.
So how are we supposed to get to the same one?
Which truth do you speak of?
Heaven. Blacks and whites be enemies down here on earth. Does that just fade away in heaven? I plan to go to heaven. I've always wanted to, I assure you. But the last thing I want to see when I get there is another white man standing on top of me with his foot on my neck.
You believe in heaven?
Yes, sir.
How?
Because I live in hell. Excuse me, Kentucky.
Your family there too?
What's left of them? My mother has passed and my father passed a few years ago.
How?
In hope.
Now, I'm sorry for your loss.
That's what everybody say. I'm sorry for your loss. I ain't saying you ain't feel how you feel, but Dr. King, we done lost a lot. And all we got was a bunch of sorries.
What is it you desire?
Something that will carry me from day to day without the residual anger.
Anger, yes. Anger at life.
Life? White folk? Negroes who refuse to do anything to change our situation? You. Dr. King, you've been lifted up, heralded by the nation. Every television debate, interview, our family was right there, watching, hoping. We watched you on the open mind talking about the new Negro. You spoke of dignity and self-respect. My father made us watch it with great attention, made us write down notes, discuss your truth. I don't think you could have ever contained himself with that kind of excitement. He saw something in you, Dr. King. He spoke of your eloquence of language and thought. You spoke of asserting our rights with earnest prudence. And my father understood that to be true, and when he heard you say it, it moved him in a way we'd never seen. He was the principal of our school. Education was stressed beyond belief. But one night, he was walking a couple of young female students home. These two young white boys, students across the town, began to cuss at him and throw rocks. My dad tried to quickly shuffle along, but when a rock hit Tiffany, my dad's most promising student, he wasn't contained. He wasn't prudent or restrained. He hurt them boys. And when he came home, he knew. We knew. He asked me, what does it mean if the only people who are watching Dr. King are the ones who are hurting? I cried. That night, the police came to my house. My dad had this camera he used to take all the photographs of our school with. I picked it up to capture all the faces of the men who came to take our most prized possession. Our father.
Henry.
Dr. King, I've been taking pictures ever since. I got so many of the movement. I got pictures of black folks suffering from Greenville all the way to Springfield, Ohio. When Mrs. King came to Louisville, I had no choice but to capture her image. But Dr. King, what does it all mean? Why can't they see the same beauty that we see in ourselves? Why is this skin we live with our indictment? My mother and father are gone. Where is their freedom?
In you. I take it you have brothers and sisters?
5 that I'm now responsible for. 5 reasons that I couldn't go to college myself. 5 reasons that I now work day and night to rebuild a life we once had. 5 reasons that I risk everything to see you today.
My adoration for you grows by the minute.
When my brothers and sisters look to me for comfort, for security, for education? How do I look them in the eyes and tell them everything will be all right when in my heart I'm not certain of it?
Because it will be. Faith is not an idea, but a man. A man with a mighty hand on who you can rely.
Is this the same hand that took from me my life, my comfort, my security? Dr. King, now more than ever, we need you. I need you.
No, you need to look inside yourself. Strength walks in you. Faith walks in you. Love walks in you, and it can stomp out all those doubts and fears. We do not march today to ask for permission from whites. We march to show that we are who we say we are, kings and queens who are bound by an ugly chain of injustice. This is not a docile protest, but a call to arms. You kill our children, we will raise more stronger and tougher and more resilient than before. You burn down our schools, we will educate ourselves in the quiet of night. You take our men and imprison them. Our women will rise up in valor and fight to continue to empower us from generation to generation. You take our mothers and our fathers, we will raise our younger brothers and sisters with even more strength and build upon the foundation that was laid down in excellence. We march to send a message that the Negro spirit will never be broken. And we will strive to overcome every weapon, every injustice, every right you think you have the power to take. Henry, we march for you, for your hopes and your dreams that will never die as long as you believe you have everything you need inside of you. Henry, you didn't need to come here to see me today. You needed only to look inside yourself. And if you see yourself like I see you, then you can sit back and smile and know that we've already won. We are already free.
The day was warm, but when Dr. King came out, it got hot. We all felt it. We all felt Martin needed to say something. Something more than ever said before. Something to change the nation.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration of freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow on which we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon of light, of hope, to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared by the withering flames of injustice. Yes. It came as a daybreak to a long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro is still not free. Right. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languishing in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. So we have come today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we have come to the nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of the Republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promise, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro a bad check, a check that has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in this great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drugs of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there's a cooling autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hoped that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will be in for a rude awakening if the nation continues to go back to business as usual. There will neither be rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is guaranteed his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who are standing on the threshold which leads to the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative process to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force.
Yes.
This marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is linked to our destiny. They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. As we walk, we must make the pledge that we will always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is a victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies are heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of highways and the hotels of cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and the Negroes in New York have no reason for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied as long as we are not filled with justice, and justice has not rolled down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream.
I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where the quest for freedom has left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggering by the winds of police brutality. Mm-hmm. You have been victims of unjust. Continue to walk with the faith that unrighteousness is redemptive.
Yes.
Go back to Mississippi.
Yes.
Go back to Alabama.
Yes.
Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and the cities of our northern cities, knowing that somehow the situation can and will be changed.
Yes, that's right.
We cannot wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, that though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
Yes.
It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
That's right.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will sit down together at the table of brotherhood.
I have a dream that one day, even in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of oppression, sweltering with the heat of injustice, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
I have a dream that my 4 children will not be looked at by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I have a dream that one day in Alabama, with its vicious races, whose governor's lips are dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, that one day, right there in the state of Alabama, little black boys and black girls would join hands with little white boys and white girls as brothers and sisters.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see with it together.
This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet,
from every state and every city, we can speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the song of that old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Join in with us, guys.
Come on, children. No.
No more weeping. No more weeping.
No more.
No more weeping over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
No more worry, no more worry.
No more worry.
No more worry.
No more worry.
No more worry, children.
No more worries over me.
And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom, freedom over me, yeah.
And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom! Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Wow, let's have one more round of applause for Cloud9 Productions. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm Amanda Quinones, a Diversity and Inclusion Specialist in the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity. I'd like to thank you for attending this morning's program, including the folks that are joining us across the complex via live stream. Special thanks to Cloud9 for performing and giving us a glimpse behind the scenes of what may have taken place before Dr. King's historic I Have a Dream speech. So more than 50 years later, the fierce urgencies of Dr. King's speech still rings true. It still serves as a call to action for the country to come together and advance equal rights for all Americans. I'd like for all of us to reflect on his words as we move forward throughout the rest of our day and see how we can continue to carry on his legacy. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion has some exciting programming lined up for the coming months. On February 23rd, 2016, we will commemorate Black History Month in the Forrestal Auditorium, with a powerful speaker invited to participate in the festivities. We also have a dynamic and very interactive program lined up for Women's History Month in March. So thank you again for attending, and I hope to see you here in the auditorium on the 23rd for our Black History Month program. Thank you.